Hi everyone, welcome to the DXB podcast. This is episode number 7. This is our, I guess you'd call it the post E3 podcast. E3 is done and over. We gave you our ridiculously long podcast last week about the conferences. Not too much was announced after that, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. We just have one sort of wrap up and our favorites basically and our least favorites real quick, and then just basic stuff that we do normally, which is news, some topics that came up that are worth a little bit of discussion, but we're going to try and keep this one fairly short. I think we're all a little burnt out from last week's podcast, so we will do our best to keep this one at an hour and a half or under. So, with that said, I am joined by 4 other people, and I am, of course, Chanogram, with my real name is Channing, and I'll let the other guys introduce themselves quick.
Landshark, real name is Scott.
Average, real name Average.
I'm Carnal, real name Dominic.
I'm MWJW, real name Michael.
Yep, and our streak continues. We've still not made it through introductions without some sort of a hiccup. So it's good to keep that intact. We're batting 1,000.
Okay.
All right, so that's the podcast crew today. So one quick thing about the site for DXB or DirectXbox.com, however you'd like to refer to it. We do have a YouTube account. MW created it for us. It's a DXB sort of owned YouTube. We have been uploading, thanks to MW again, the podcasts in YouTube format. So if you'd like to, listen to it through YouTube for whatever reason, you can. There's also some graphics, and MW has been splicing in trailers and that kind of stuff when it's applicable. Not everyone, because he didn't go back and spend, he has a life. So
Yeah, and a kid.
Yep. So time willing, we'll try and get those done as they do it. They're not going to be done at the exact same time as the audio podcast for obvious reasons. So, but they're there, and MW or I or someone will post the link, and if you give us a follow on YouTube, we'll post the link to that as well.
Yeah, I'll have it posted within the site, or if you just want to look it up, it's DirectXbox.
Yeah,
That simple.
and there
You'll find us.
is another DirectXbox. It was really weird that it'll let you name it that. It's kind of weird. I don't know. You'll see. The one's obvious, so we'll make sure to give you a link too. But it's the only one with podcasts. The other DirectXbox has one video from forever ago, so it'll be obvious.
It'll be
So,
easy to tell.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully get some videos uploaded too. We can use it. All of us are gonna have access to it here. All the mods, including Cabin, who's not here. So we can use it for whatever we want, basically, within reason. Yeah. So before we go into the news, we're going to kind of wrap up our E3 in our own way. We did our last recording on Wednesday night, and that was a long one. But we didn't really touch on anything that may have happened after the press conferences or when E3 technically started on Tuesday. So we're going to talk a little bit about our favorite stuff. It'll be quick, so you can always skip this part if you're sick of us talking about E3. But it's a big event, so we're going to spend a little more time on it, and that should be it for the year. So before we go into that, though, I want Av3rage and Landshark, I want to give them just a couple minutes to give their thoughts on any of the conferences, or if they want to rank them, or if you want to go there, you can say who you thought won. If you want to go there, yeah, I'll let Av3rage, you want to go first?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this E3. Like I've been saying for a while, there are more games than we'll know what to do with coming out this year, and that was showcased definitely at E3 this year. Um, all of the press conferences were either good or decent. Um, None of them wowed me to the point where I won't say that because I was speechless a couple of times. Um, but the overall press conferences didn't, there's not one that said, oh my God, this was the greatest press conference ever. They were all good in their own right. Some had better moments than others. Some had more boring moments than others. We won't get into that. Um, but overall, it was my Christmas. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to playing the games that are coming out later on this year, just not paying for them. So
Fair enough. Landshark?
Yeah, I'm not going to rank them, I guess. I thought they were all pretty good in their own way. I did not see all of Nintendo's. I only caught about 15 minutes of it, so that kind of sucks. But um, I think that each conference came out and did what they said they were going to do. Microsoft showed off all the games. Sony stuck to their, I would call what they're known for. Showed off a bit of everything. And Nintendo, I didn't really see all of it, so I can't comment much on that one. But although from the first day, which was EA, Ubisoft, Sony, and Microsoft, the one I thought that was most enjoyable to me for watching was probably the Ubisoft one. It was most entertaining to watch. But there you go. Definitely the winners this year are going to be the gamers as usual. Tons of games coming out, and all in the fall, of course. So I'm going to be saving up lots of money between now and then. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. So there you have it. There's the abbreviated version. If you guys want to record, 2 hours of you talking, we can always append it to our old one. Make
Nope.
it a 5 hour long podcast. So,
24 hours.
yeah, a marathon podcast.
Yep.
No thanks. So I asked the group here basically 3 questions, and I gave them give or take 20 minutes to think about this. So they didn't have a lot of time to prepare. Basically, I asked them 3 questions. They don't have to answer all 3 if they don't want. If they don't have any specifically, they don't have to answer. But I wanted to know what everyone's sort of best news or game or whatever you want to say piece of E3 was this year. If you really want to go broad, you can go broad. I was hoping for specific. Secondly, your most surprising. Those 2 obviously could be the same, but they very well could not be. And then third, what was your most disappointing, game news, or it could be even a no-show if that's that disappointed you, something you expected to see that didn't show up. Who wants to go first? We didn't have this figured out, so.
I can go.
All right, let's hear it.
Let's see. Best game or news of E3. Something that I figured would be there that no one really talked about, kind of like in 2012 when it happened, and that was the Tomb Raider trailer. It's my favorite franchise, one of my favorite gaming franchises. Um, so I was very happy to see Laura sitting in the chair with the psychologist. I actually, as soon as I saw the hood, I knew what it was, and I had to take a moment for myself, as the people that were in the party know. Um, Most surprising game for me. Um, well, I'll have to go 2 ways with this. The most surprising game for me was Rainbow Six, not because I was surprised that Ubisoft brought it back, but I'm surprised that they demoed it in the way that they did. Um, it was classic Ubisoft E3. It was a great demo, showcased exactly what they wanted to showcase, and it makes me think that Rainbow Six is going back to its very very tactical roots, which I love. The second half of that would be Nintendo's press conference, all of Nintendo's press conference, because for those of you that missed it, Nintendo's press conference was very good. Um, Good game announcements, new IPs that are coming out, classics that are being done in ways that we probably would have never thought of. Mario Maker is probably going to be a much deeper game than people will give it credit for, and it looks like it's fun to play as well. So,
Little Big Planet for Mario.
but it's a lot deeper than that though, because what they do is they put you in the let's say Mario NES mode to create the game, but then
Mm.
once you create it, it goes into the 3D Super Mario world from Wii U. So everything you create then pops into life in 3D. So it's a little bit deeper. But if you're a Mario fan and a 2D fan, you'll absolutely love it, I think.
Mm.
Um, then most disappointing game for me, I was hoping that The Order would be the game that made me buy a PS4, and it's looking like The Order will be just another game that sits on the shelf while I wait for the game that makes me buy a PS4. Um, it looks great. it just does not look like it plays great. And I need my games to play great. I don't care how they look. I still play my NES, so obviously I don't care how my games look. Um, I need it to play great, and right now it doesn't look like it's going to do that. So
All
that
right.
would be my three.
Cool. I guess I'll go next. Since Landshark can't hear my voice very well.
Well, I
Sorry,
can hear you
MW.
great.
Yeah. So anyway, to answer 3 questions, man. The best game news of E3. That's hard because I think it kind of there's a couple things I want to talk about that are more like the most surprising moments of or games of E3 for me. That kind of borderline the best part. One, the Phil Spencer said that tech demo of the cloud being used for the building destruction was not throwaway content, and then we saw 2 games that it could be. It's either the Phantom Dust or the Crackdown stuff.
He actually confirmed what it was.
Which was it?
Crackdown. It was
Oh, was
early.
it
Yep, it
Crackdown?
was early
Mhm.
prototype for Crackdown from Bill
Cool.
Spencer himself.
So that is, for me, it's most surprising, and the reason I call it best gaming news is because it confirms that there's highly likelihood that they're going to use the cloud for that kind of stuff in one of the future games, possibly Crackdown in this case. Which I'm really looking forward to seeing, like a game fully developed for the Xbox One using everything that's available to it. Just want to see what they can come up with. Um, uh, best, so that's kind of both best and most surprising for me. There's a lot of other games too, like actually the Rainbow Six stuff. I didn't expect it to be there, so that was kind of surprising for me. I'm a big Rainbow Six fan, have been for a very long time. Uh, I don't know, most disappointing stuff that they're. So I think someone mentioned this last week during the E3 podcast stuff too, but for me there was nothing that we didn't already know about on the Microsoft stage really. So that was kind of disappointing. And then Sony taking a couple of cheap shots at Microsoft again on stage, which is that political campaigning stuff that I don't like to see on at E3 or any game stuff. So that's about it for me. Go ahead, MW.
All right. So, best game news. I I really enjoyed the entire Microsoft conference. Really, I mean that was the best part for me.
I'm shocked. Anyone else?
I am so shocked right now.
Sorry.
MW. The day you say that like Sony impressed you or something, I'm gonna literally drop dead. I might just die of a
Sony
heart
impressed
attack.
me if I didn't fall asleep. I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoyed their press conference, what games they showed, but the in between parts really did bore me. That was my most disappointing. I
My
was really
wife.
hoping they were going to do the same thing as Microsoft, see their response and respond to that doing the exact same thing. Games, and maybe some experiences, some of the apps, some of the stuff, and they didn't. So that was my biggest disappointment. I thought they were going to, really try to step it up and do exactly what Microsoft did. So that was my biggest disappointment. Uh, but going back to my biggest surprise, oh, Rainbow Six. Because I just sat there and just wiped drool off of my chin just the entire time.
Tasty, tasty drool.
oh yeah. It was it was fun to watch. So hopefully they do something really nice with that. I mean, I could probably play that same mission over and over again. But hopefully there's more to go along with that.
I guess I'll go then. Mine's gonna shock y'all. My favorite game, and I'm just gonna say 2 because I have to, because I can't put one above the other. Batman was freaking gorgeous,
Nah.
and that was amazing. So that and Halo Master Chief Collection. I mean, the amount of content you were getting with that game surprised the heck out of me. I mean, I expected a collection, but I didn't expect a Halo 2 anniversary with it, and all the maps and all the multiplayer. So, um, as for most surprising and disappointing, I have one for both, and it's the same thing. Conquer. I was surprised to see Conquer, and then all of a sudden, just like that, I was disappointed to see Conquer. So I don't like that it wasn't a game. It's just a tool essentially for Project Spark. Nothing against Project Spark. I think it's cool and all, but that was disappointing to me.
Fair enough. I'll go last then. So, best game or news or whatever. I gotta go with. I don't even know. As other people said, it's pretty tough. There's a lot of good stuff.
You created these topics
Yeah,
and you don't know.
I'm gonna go honestly with I'm gonna go with Scalebound, and I know it's a weird pick because we didn't see any gameplay, but it's the best news, not necessarily the best game. The best news. I know we had rumors of Platinum Games, being making exclusive for almost a year now, basically since the platform was announced. But to actually see it now and see it as an actual exclusive from a developer that I generally enjoy their games, even though they're a little bit strange, not necessarily mass appeal a lot of times with Bayonetta and they made Vanquish, right? Average, so them.
Yep, that is them.
So they're not for everyone. I enjoyed both of those. They've made some other games too that are pretty decent. So seeing that, and I'm a huge, huge fantasy nerd when it comes to dragons and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
I'm really excited to see what they're actually going to do with the game. I have no idea what the gameplay is going to be, but I'm excited to see what it is. And there's lots of high points in this E3 press conference. That's just the one that I'm picking out because I could easily say Sunset Overdrive. I could say whatever. GTA 5 was a good one. I'm actually called. No, I'm not gonna call that my most surprising because I don't think any of us were surprised. I didn't bring this up in the Sony press conference, but my most surprising is actually a no-show. I'm not disappointed by it, but I'm really, really surprised that Drive Club made zero appearance in the PlayStation conference. For a game that they've been touting as, a top-notch racer for, well, a year now, basically. Over a year.
Over a year now.
Since they announced the platform, right? That's when they announced Drive Club.
Yeah, E3.
It's supposed to be a launch game. Obviously, didn't make it at launch. It was pushed back basically a year, almost exactly a year, if I remember correctly. And just not there. Really weird. Like, I was actually really surprised, and I didn't bring it up, like I said, but the more I think about it, the more it's surprising to me. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to show it for some reason. I know there's some stuff that's not going to be there at launch now. Weather, I think, specifically. I don't know if they just felt like it wasn't complete enough to show, or they didn't want to show it after, because they did it after Forza Horizon 2 was shown, and they did it after Drive Club was shown. I don't know.
The crew, you mean?
Or yeah, sorry, what is Drive Club? Sorry, yes, after Forza Horizon 2 and the crew. So I don't know if they think that maybe they didn't have something that lived up to maybe the trailer they were going to show, or the demo just wasn't up to snuff compared to those two. Maybe I'm just reading into it. Either way, most surprising. That was it. Most disappointing. The entire middle of Nintendo's conference, other than PlayStation TV, or not Nintendo's, PlayStation's conference. PlayStation TV, which is neat. I actually wish Xbox would come out with something very similar, so that I could have one Xbox One and play it in other rooms to a certain degree.
But what would we play? Arcade games?
No, you can stream your actual Xbox One.
Well, no. But I mean, like their other big hook is the Vita stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't care about that side of it. I just want to be able to, for relatively cheap, be able to stream my game into another room where I have a TV and stuff, where it's internet connection. That's all I care about. I could care less about actually being able to play the arcade games. Be neat, I guess, to a certain degree, but it's more for a fraction of the price, I can basically have access to it in a couple different rooms instead of lugging it around. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, but otherwise, the middle of their conference was by far the most disappointing. I thought Sony in general finished strong and ended strong, but the middle was unbearably
drawn out,
boring, and I almost fell asleep.
You didn't enjoy Powers?
My wife
Oh,
left
God.
for the to clean dishes during that time.
Yeah, I think.
That's how boring it was.
Yeah, I don't.
That's pretty boring.
And I don't think I'm alone. I think even if you look at Twitter and other places, I don't think anyone's real excited by the middle of Sony's conference. The Vita
Yeah.
talk, the Indie talk, the
Yeah, watching Twitch, it was like, all right, get off the stage, Penguin. Oh my God, shut this fat guy up. Let's move along.
well, it wasn't even that. That was just wasn't that right at the end of their lull? Like it was already getting boring, and then they brought that guy out on stage, and it's like,
Oh,
good
yeah.
Lord, you're ending boring with more boring.
that was the
Get back
that
to
was
the
the
games.
chloroform for the party after we were already tired.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my picks. So before we go on to the news and the rest of the topics, does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up, say, about E3? Anything they want to discuss? I mean, this is pretty much it for our E3 talk on the podcast. There's obviously the forum, so if you ever want to talk about anything on the forum, you can. But any last words? Anyone? Carnal,
It was fun.
Show.
I was say, do you want to
It
give
was fun.
Nintendo some love? I suppose Average gave him some love in his.
Yeah, it was a
No,
good show.
I thought Nintendo had a great
thoroughly
conference.
Enjoyed
I did.
Nintendo's show. It made me decide to go ahead and purchase a Wii U before I get a PS4 again, I should say, because I had a Wii U, I just traded it in. But I'll be getting my Wii U back before I get a PS4, just because Nintendo showed games, and they
I'm just
showed
happy.
that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that they showed that they're investing in new games, new IPs, Splatoon, going in a different direction with Zelda, both Zeldas, the Hyrule Warrior and even the main Zelda title is going to go in a different direction. So it shows that they're still very much thinking about games. They just do it at their own pace. So
They're being Nintendo. Yeah.
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 I'm just happy that I can finally use my Wii U for something other than a tablet to look up the internet when I'm not too lazy to go in the other room and get my actual tablet. Or for my nephew to watch shows on when he's annoying me.
All right. Someday. I know I'll say I'll never own one, but there's a chance I'll own one at some point. I have a Wii in my house, so there's always a chance.
Mhm.
Anything else for E3?
No, it was just fun.
Alright.
It's fun with hanging with you guys and
Yeah.
watch it.
Yep, it was fun.
As fun as E3 was, no one should think this is going to be it. What games are there is what we're going to get. There's a possibility we're going to see more down the road. So
Well.
it ain't over till it's over.
There's Gamescom and TGS and
We
eventually
promised we won't have a-
Eurogamer, right?
We promised we won't have a 4-hour podcast for those shows.
No,
you promised.
No, I don't promise.
I promise.
Well, apparently, he will not be there during that podcast. So
No, I won't be there
everyone
for
look really
hours.
forward to that one. That one will be a great podcast.
We definitely won't go that long with another one. I mean, E3 is, as Average puts it, the Super Bowl of the industry, basically. So it deserves that much conversation and attention. So no other conference really does it the same way. So there'll be news coming out of the conferences, but there won't be just presentations to break down really. So yeah.
GamesCon will be different because GamesCon and TGS are still the two that allow the public in. So there's a lot more hands-on that we can talk about because it'll be actual people playing some of the stuff that we talk about where they don't at E3. So it'll be more in depth in that response, and in that regard. But other than that, like you said, it's not as. Gamescom has more attendees, but again, that's because the public's allowed. So.
Yeah, and Gamescom is in August something. I can't remember what it is offhand, but I'm pretty sure it's August. So, and that's where we get to see Quantum Break. So,
Yep.
Well, Quantum Break in detail, not just little snippets like we've been seeing. So,
Yeah, gameplay.
I think it was somewhat smart. It's smart and not smart at the same time to leave that game out, but either way, I'm excited to see it.
I think.
So,
I think in what they announced at E3 on their stage and what they did on their stage, Quantum Break actually would not have had a place to shine, and it needs a place to shine. So I think it's smart to do it at a show like that. It needs to stand on its own.
yep. So it'll be interesting to see with all the fans there and not just the media members when they, they can broadcast it or do something there and watch people's reaction that actually are going to buy the games, not just the media who talk about it. So, yeah, I don't have anything else. So are we good to move on?
Yep.
All right, cool. So I'll go on to the relatively small news topics. Just there really wasn't that much other news. Obviously, there's lots of stuff coming out of E3, but nothing that's not on our forum. And
Hey,
that's
Chano, did you skip what we're playing?
oh, I did.
Yeah.
Apparently, I have trouble reading tonight as well.
It was supposed to be before the E3
Yeah,
stuff.
let's do it now before we go into the actual topic. So I think it'll be pretty quick, other than one game. Actually, you know what? Let's save it. Let's save it till we get to the Destiny stuff.
Okay, that works.
So we'll go on to some quick topics. We'll blast through these. So first one, Nintendo, someone from Nintendo, I can't remember the name, came out and said that they have basically no plans for Twitch integration at this time for the Wii U. MW, I think, posted it.
Reggie.
Was it Reggie?
Yeah.
Do you remember the exact quote, or do you have it handy? I don't. If you don't have it, that's fine.
Well, I can summarize real quick because I don't have it in front of
That's
me.
fine.
But basically, he broke it down. We at Nintendo don't see that 5-minute long gameplays are very fun to watch. So we still have great partnership with Twitch and other streaming media, but we don't see it as a valuable service to add to the Wii U. So basically, he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
We gave you 60-second, YouTube videos to upload. So you're fine with that, right?
Yeah, well, this just kind of goes right back to what we kind of just talked about, or I hinted at, that Nintendo just does things their way. Not always the right way, in my opinion, but then again, I'm not a huge Nintendo fan in general. But this is just kind of a funny one to me, where they say it's not fun, yet millions of people use it. So
Such a stupid move by Nintendo.
yeah, I mean, it's fine if they can't get it to work on their system for some reason, or their network doesn't, allow it to be integrated correctly. But to say that it's not fun and basically imply that we don't want it is kind of ridiculous. So, but there's always ways. People will find a way to stream it, and it'll be kind of interesting to see some of these games streamed when they come out. So, anyone happy about that or disappointed immensely? Average, I know you and Landshark are probably the two biggest streamers. I know Carnal does some streaming, but
No.
As long as I have a capture card, it doesn't matter.
yeah, so you got your way around it. So
There's ways around it, yeah.
Yep. But,
For the people that are really serious about it, they can get around it pretty easily.
all right, like I said, that was a quick one, so not much to say. Just something interesting. Titanfall Sales. We don't have numbers because they haven't released them. But according to EA, Titanfall exceeded their expectations, and according to them, they had very high expectations. Also, according to them, and I don't think they'd make this claim if they didn't have numbers to back it up, Titanfall is the highest-selling video game on Xbox One. So, and that's pretty impressive considering Forza, and I just turned my Xbox on. That's just awesome. Apparently, Xbox One sounds a lot like Xbox On. So, I'm going to turn that off in a second.
It knows you're talking about it.
I completely lost my train of thought because I heard it turn on in the background. Oh, yeah, because, you have Forza and some other big games that are out there, Dead Right. All the launch games where people just bought a lot of them. It's surprising. I guess it's not really surprising so much, but it is kind of that it's a third-party game that was on multiple consoles, the 360, that supposedly, according to them, is the highest-selling game. It's, I guess, funny to me, considering people said it wasn't going to sell, it's not going to sell systems, it's not going to, it's a mistake. Well, according to EA, it was not a mistake to release it on the Xbox One exclusive. Sure, they could have probably made a little more money on both systems, but I don't think they got burned. So,
To give a view on numbers, it's actually, if it is the number one selling, I just read something on IGN earlier that they were saying Forza, over at least half of all Xbox One users have played the game. So
have played it, or
look at those
played
numbers.
it, not necessarily bought it.
Just a bot.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm assuming a lot of those are.
I think this gen, by the way, I think we're going to have a lot of weird sales numbers reporting because for whatever reason, Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo aren't very forthcoming with their digital sales. We're going to get retail units sold.
Yeah.
It's going to be tricky to get the actual number of copies sold of a game just because of the, digital is going up, and it's going to keep going up as the months and years go on here. So hopefully I would like to see them be a little more transparent when it comes to sales, just for, I run a podcast. I want numbers. So just, satisfy my curiosity. So.
Especially for digital. I really like to see digital sales.
Or just give us retail and then say, give us a percentage. Let us figure it out. We're smart. So, any thoughts on the Titanfall news?
It's awesome. I'm happy for Respawn. That it's an awesome game. I devoted a couple months to it, and I'm sure I'll go back eventually once more modes come out and everything. I'm not getting rid of it like I do a lot of games. So.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Yep.
Oh yeah. If anybody at EA deserves money, it's them.
Yeah. All right. Next one. This one, someone posted on a forum. I think it might have been in the MW. Naughty Dog is supposedly working on getting The Last of Us on PS4 over 60 FPS. That's correct, right? MW, I'm interpreting the wording correctly. Or was that not you?
I didn't read the article.
I told you guys in chat when we were playing Xbox.
N4G, super reliable source. I don't remember the article specifically. I think I might have glanced at it yesterday or this morning maybe. But if I don't get it personally, 60 FPS is great, but higher than 60 FPS is
to me
rather pointless, really. What was that, Colonel?
To me, it's a cowardly act, and I think they're scared because they've spouted this 1080p 60 FPS crap forever, and if once Xbox catches up, and they'll have nothing. So they're trying to push it past those borders just so they can have the number.
And obviously, it's a first-party game. I just can't see a developer actually wanting to do this for a console game. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, who's push? What's that?
Me neither.
All I know is I play Minecraft at over 100 FPS. It makes no difference to me.
Yeah,
I was just about to say, it's one of those things with everything, numbers, the bigger the number is supposedly better. But there's always a law of diminishing returns, and in video games, it's that much more apparent depending on the content. Most of The Last of Us is spent talking or walking, neither of which you need 60 frames a second for. 30 frames a second are fine. Hitting 60 or above for a game like that make absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
It does not affect gameplay. It does not make the game better. It's a technical spec that you're just trying to hit. So you're wasting money and you're wasting time. Number one, because the game has already been out for a year. So you just need to upgrade the visuals and put it on the PS4 and sell it so that you can make some more money off of it. Not put more resources into hitting something that's not going to make a difference. It's not going to get you more sales because you get it over 60 frames per second. Because the people that know are not buying it because it's over 60 frames per second.
It's the fidelity over resolution and frame rate thing. I think frame rate probably plays a little more into the overall fidelity than resolution does, to a certain point. Obviously, if we're talking like a 480 game, of course. But if we're talking anything 720 or higher on most TVs these days, I would say frame rate makes a bigger difference in the way it plays. Up to 60, even PC gamers for their games typically will try to target. I could be wrong. I don't game on PC a lot, but when I do, I try to tweak my settings and get anywhere between like 45 and 60 and keep it right in there. If I don't drop far below that or too high, then I'm good. Am I abnormal, or is that roughly what people do? Obviously, you can get higher by maxing everything out, like you can with Minecraft. Sure, it doesn't hurt anything to run it higher, but I mean, do you Do you lower settings to get above 60 ever, Shark? Or average, I guess, if you play PC?
There's no point for
Okay.
me. I
Yeah,
don't bother.
there's no point.
If it's
Okay.
gonna take away from my graphical stuff,
Yeah,
I
I
don't bother.
was just curious because
Like how it
I
looks.
play PC games. I'm not what I'd call a PC gamer, so I was just curious if that was, you know, people are trying to push 100 FPS just for the sake of it, or what the deal is. But
Some guys, I mean, I
Some
think with
people do.
PCs, you're gonna see a lot more of that, but just because people are boasting about what they've got in their
all
computer.
right,
But
were you gonna say something, Average?
you know,
No,
sorry.
no, I was just it's a e-penis measuring thing.
All right.
That's all it
Yeah.
is.
It is.
Just call it what it is. I got 2 Titans in my machine. Well, I got 4. What were you playing? Bionic Commando on the NES at 800 frames per second. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
You haven't seen Mario unless Mario's running at 1,000 frames per second. That's all I'm saying.
By the way, that article must have pissed off somebody. It is
Yeah.
completely removed from N4G. It is
Well,
not there
is
at
it?
all.
Maybe
if
it was a
You
mistake.
can even
Yeah.
search
Well,
for
for all
The
we know, it
Last
was
of Us. Gone.
Proven false. You know, we do a lot of research on our news here. So either way, it was an interesting discussion whether or not even 60 FPS is that important. So the only reason I threw it on there is because it's not out of the realm of possibility. We know what Sony likes to push, and that's numbers, as Average said. So yeah, it is what it is. If we're wrong, you can let us know and tell us we're idiots for even talking about it. That's fine. You can blame me since I picked the topics. It's my fault.
Yeah, I was about to say, I just brought it up in chat. I didn't know you were throwing it in here.
That's it for the small topics. The next topic is a game, and before we get into that, I want to do what we're playing, and we'll let Carnal finish it out and kind of lead into the next quick topic. I'll go first, and I'm mostly just playing WatchDogs still. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that after in a few topics here. That's pretty much it for me. What are you guys playing? We'll go in the same order as we did the introduction. So, yep.
Yes, me. So I basically WatchDogs and
Alright.
WildStar. That's all. I do.
Average.
I am playing Strider, Wolfenstein, Watch Dogs still, playing some Lara Croft, Guardian of Light on Xbox 360, F1 2013 on Xbox 360, and have been dabbling with Legacy of Kain on PS3.
Well.
That's enough.
Mr. Variety, everybody.
Now I feel inferior. Actually, before we go on, what do you want to give like a quick 30-second? I know you're not complete through the game yet, but give us your early 30-second review of Wolfenstein.
I like it. It's I was not expecting that much story out of a first-person shooter. You know, most first-person shooters are turn brain off, hit right trigger and shoot. But it's an interesting storyline. It's visually appealing, and it's
Yeah.
brutal. It's a brutal fucking game, man. But I like it. I like it a lot. It's been very enjoyable. I haven't had a chance to really sit down and play it the way I want to, but
Yeah. So the only reason I'm asking you is because Carnal and I, when the game first came out, were the only 2 people who had actually played it in the podcast. Because Cabin couldn't make it, so I figured we'd get one more person.
okay.
Question: were you as impressed with the story between the first and second levels, between the hospital level? Were you as impressed with the early cutscene of that? I know I love that. I think Carnal said he
Yes.
enjoyed that too. So that was kind of where you first realized that this game really does focus on story and tries to play on your emotions a little bit at least. So
Yep. Yep. They did a good job with it. World War II is one of my favorite, not favorite, I mean, there's nothing good about it, but it's one of the more interesting pieces of history. So any game that takes something and makes its own world out of it is going to catch my attention just from that. So the route that they're going with their alternate telling and, you know, little alternate timeline and stuff like that, it's enjoyable. And they did a good job. You could tell they actually put some thought into it as opposed to let's just make mechanized demon-loving Nazis and you go and shoot them. So,
all right. Yeah. Shark and MW, I highly
It's
recommend that
interesting.
game,
I
by the
like
way, when you get time. So, yeah, or money.
When I get money.
I'll consider it now. With the
Yeah,
reviews
it's
you guys give me,
and
I'll
you don't have to
consider
you don't have to love first-person shooters to enjoy that game. By the way, it's not yeah.
Yeah.
So just even if you rent it for a couple days from Redbox or
Yeah.
something, it's worth it. You could probably beat it in a couple days if you give it a, you know, it's not a super long game unless you play in the really harder difficulties. It's long enough to justify the purchase, but it's if you play on normal, you can probably blow through it and at least get the story out of it. So, who is next for what they're playing? That would be Carnal. Oh, that's right. You're going last. God,
You wanted me to wait till the end.
I'm good at this. MW, what are you playing?
Oh, so I finished the story for WatchDogs, and I'm going through doing a couple of the little side stuff, the stuff that people almost never finish. So I'm going through and doing a little bit of that, and then when I get done, I'm gonna go sell it. So I have
Yeah,
money for
fair.
this fall.
Anything else?
Played a little bit of bought all the maps for that
Okay.
the Power Star Golf on a whim.
And a common misconception,
fun.
it's not $25 to buy them
yeah.
all. Correct? It's only 20.
Nope.
Or is it 15?
15.
Yep. So I know people were adding up
$15.99 for
the
me.
individual content at $5 a piece, thinking it was going to be 25. That's not how it works. So I believe you can only pay up to, I think, 15 or 16 bucks, and you eventually will get it all because it does some subtraction and prorating and stuff like that. So just something to keep in mind. Some of those sites that reported on that
Oh,
really
yeah.
early were dead wrong. So, journalism at its best. Yeah, something like that.
Is that what you call it?
All right, so now we'll go to Carnal, and he can tell us what he's playing, and then we'll lead into the next topic, which is a game he's been playing.
Alright, we'll start. I just got my last achievement on WatchDogs, so I am done with that. I played the crap out of that game. Great game. Played a little bit of Wolfenstein, but I guess the big thing is I was in the Destiny Alpha, and it was awesome. It is everything that I expected and I wanted from Destiny, and I cannot wait for the release of the game.
Okay. Can you give us a little more about the beta?
I
Yeah.
was just about to say, tell
So
me
No,
more.
I will say a
tell
few
me
of us
more.
did.
love
We've
it.
watched
No, I'm
quite
kidding.
a bit of Cardinals streams, and also Mortimus, who was in the podcast last week, was in it. So we've been watching and talking about it quite a bit. So even though Cardinal in the podcast is the only one who's played it, we've all seen it a little bit while he's playing. So we've asked him questions and probably bother him while he's trying to play, asking him everything. So
Oh, no, it's not about that at all.
You know,
Only
it-
reason I streamed is so you guys could watch it.
people are saying it's very similar to like if you took Borderlands and crossed it with Halo. Is that obviously is that roughly?
Yeah, that's a very good mix. It's Halo and Borderlands mixed with MMO. There's shops and stuff you can buy stuff from. You can make stuff. You can upgrade your armor and your weapons. Like each armor slot, that's like a.
I would say MMO light.
It's very MMO like, yeah, but they have the little MMO touches in there, like dancing and sitting on the ground.
Can
Weird
you think of
emotes
another
like
game that is
but,
more of an MMO? Maybe not the same gameplay style. That's similar in the scope of what it's trying to do gameplay wise. Maybe not the size of it, but just the general. Can you think of one? Okay.
Not really. This seems like its own beast. I mean, there's been first-person shooters that try to mix in like RPG elements, but this mixes in like everything you'd want from RPG elements. Like I said, there's shops to buy stuff. You can create stuff. You can pick up equipment, make things, and more weapons and more armor. And there's raids and well, not raids, dungeons, and there's open world. I mean, there's so much I could go on and on about just the alpha. And I played the alpha for at least 5-6 hours. And that's just what, maybe, I'm going to say like 5% of what the game's going to
is what they
be.
said, yeah.
Less than 10?
Less than 10.
I mean, that's insane. This game's
Yeah,
gonna
you
be
kept
huge.
finding new areas. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I've never been here. Holy crap.
Well, what they did is they only gave you to level 8. I mean, they don't want you to spoil it completely for yourself, but from what I saw to level 8, I am happy. I am a happy gamer because I expected a lot out of Destiny, and it was one of my most anticipated games. The scope of the Russia area, that's the area they give you on Earth, is humongous. I mean, like MW mentioned, me and Mortimus, who was with us for the E3 second part, were running around and it never ended. I mean, we could only get to certain areas because what they did is they put like really high level enemies past certain parts of the map. So unless you got lucky and you just bolted through them on your like bike speeder mount type thing, very MMO-ish, you would die. But we got pretty deep into Russia, and like I said, it was humongous. And that's just one part.
Visually speaking, now I know it's obviously going to look 100 times better on PS4, but for those of us who are buying Xbox One, what do you think it's going to look good based on your gameplay on the PS4?
Well, Destiny just mentioned with the 10% extra power, they'll get it to 1080p. So I really don't see a big difference between the PS4 version and the Xbox version, aside from maybe a few frames per second. But the thing is running at 30 frames per second, so I don't really see how that's going to put stress on the Xbox One. We all know the Xbox One's powerful, and I think it should be able to handle this game as well as PS4. But as for the visuals themselves, they're surprisingly gorgeous. I only say surprisingly because I always looked at Bungie as a gameplay company. They had good looking games like Halo, but it was never like mind blowing. Their graphics, it's just more the gameplay that always hooked me on. But these graphics are pretty mind blowing for what I expected and for the scale of the game.
I was going to say, I've always thought that the Halo games were very, very visually centric, but maybe it's just me.
No, they were good. Like I said, it's just it was more of a gameplay thing for me. I always played Halo for the gameplay, other than the 343 Halo 4. That was visually stunning, but that wasn't Bungie. So.
Oh yeah, Halo 4 wasn't.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I forgot.
So looking at the jump from like Halo Reach to Halo 4, I know it was just night and day to me.
All right. Any other questions for Carnal? Okay.
I do.
Go ahead.
I
Woo!
guess gameplay question. So, actually, this is because I didn't watch much of the streams, and I missed all of your streams somehow. I guess I was in a cave somewhere the last couple of days. So, the only things I've really seen, other than a couple of Twitch stuff from last night, is the E3 stuff. And I thought that the E3 felt like the gameplay, well, especially, I guess I'm mostly thinking of last year's E3 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It felt a little hollow, and the AI seemed kind of blah, like for the PvE stuff.
The best.
What are your thoughts on that stuff, like the PvE and like just overall gunplay?
The best way I can describe the enemies is Halo. They move like elites. They act like elites. It's very, very, very Halo-like, the movement.
Yeah, very, very strafey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll move back and forth, and they'll try to flank you, and it's got some good AI in there, but it is brutal. I will give it that. When me and Mortimus were going through the dungeon area, and this was just a normal dungeon, and it's a level 6 dungeon. He was, I think, 6 when we went in, and I was 8. I was maxed out. It was brutal. I mean, we died a lot. There was one part where we had to take a ghost, which is a little kind of navigator.
Yep.
Think kind of librarian from Halo. And it had to scan a thing, and while it was scanning, we had to fight wave after wave of enemies. And we had to at least do it 5 or 6 times until we got it. I mean, we all died a lot. So it's got the difficulty curve there. And like I said, if you want to describe the movement, it's very elite-like.
Did you archive your gameplays, by the way? Or can you not archive?
I
Could-
think
could you-
Twitch automatically archives. I'm not sure.
No, you have to force save it.
You
Also,
have to
delete it after
force
3
it,
days.
Oh, you have to force it? No, dang.
Yeah, you have to set
Sorry.
it to archive it.
Oh, I got a
Can
few
can you
clips
archive with
from
PS4
the
now? Wasn't that
PS4
something you couldn't
save,
do, or
but-
am I just misremembering? Okay, you can. Okay.
You can.
Oh,
You can now. It was in their last. I was
I'll
gonna
actually
say
Well, if
check
you
my
do
Twitter
have
right
it,
now to see if
maybe you
anything
did it way
archived.
back. You should throw a link up on this just so people can go look at your archive footage if they're interested.
Definitely.
Average, did you have any questions?
But-
Okay.
No, I watched them. I watched them play, and I was always going to get it. Just looking at the customization though, that's something that I do like in first-person shooters. Just the customization type thing, even though you can't see your character to know that you can change it, is cool to me. So, just um, seeing that the world is as big as they said it was going to be, because it's one thing to say, oh yes, this game is 80 times bigger than just this town in the other game or whatever, or this one little section is bigger than the entire game of this and that. It's nice to actually see it and see somebody run around and keep running and keep running and keep running and not hit a wall. So, I think it's going to be fun. It's definitely, just looking at it, it's definitely going to be something that you want to play with somebody else, because it could have just been alpha, but it does look like it has moments where there's just nothing there. And if you don't have anybody to talk to, you might get bored and never make it to something that is special there. So, but that could just be alpha stuff and they don't have everything plugged in or whatever. But
All right. I have one complaint about the beta from what I've seen. I didn't play it. This is just going off of what I've seen from Carnal, and I think Mortimus had a very similar complaint when I was in the party last night. I think it was, maybe it was 2 nights ago. I hope to God they change how you select buttons in the menu. It can, just watching Carnal do it is already annoying me thinking about me doing it. And that's, you have a cursor on the screen. Think of it as almost like a mouse button or a mouse cursor that you actually move. It's with a joystick, right? Not the touchpad. Is that correct? Yeah, so you move it with your joystick.
That's
You don't
with your
actually
left
move
joystick.
you don't select the top button and then down selects the next button. You move the cursor over the option you want, or the icon, or whatever you're looking for. And that's the same in pretty much all of the main menus, right? In the inventory and everything
yeah,
too.
it's all menus, almost everything.
So that's
Even when
going
you
to
go to
really
shops
freaking
and
annoy
stuff,
me.
it doesn't.
I hope they either give you the option to change that or just get rid of it altogether. It's not a mouse and keyboard. This is a controller-based game. I can't think of a single freaking game that ever used that all the time that worked out well. Yeah, I'm not precise enough with my joystick. I'm a masher. So if I have to be all subtle and try to pick stuff, it's going to really frustrate me. So, really minor. What's that?
I highly I was just saying I highly doubt they'll change it because it is very smooth and very easy to do. I know Mortimus said something in your chat, but after you left, he said he got used to it and it's actually very easy to use. I know it might look bad to you right now, but I think once you start doing it, it'll
Yeah.
it'll.
I mean,
it'll
I'm
catch
sure
up
I'd
to
get
you,
used
I
to it. It's
guess.
just a matter of
But
why are you breaking something that worked perfectly
Yeah.
fine for years? It's not adding anything to the experience. It's not a step in the right direction. It's just a different thing to do that is really going to frustrate some people, at least for the beginning. So
It's
Yeah.
funny they don't even
It's
have
a-
a PC port in the works
it's
yet.
it's just a
They've
weird
talked
decision to
about
me.
it.
That's really all it is. It's a weird decision that I can see myself being awfully frustrated with, at
Yeah.
least in the beginning. Yeah, I think I've seen it a few places on the internet too, where people are kind of questioning why they did that. So we'll see what they do. I'm sure I can get over it and enjoy the game for what it is. It's not going to make me not buy the game. It's just one of the few things I question from what I've seen so far. That's all.
So,
Is that what
they're
they are?
next gen menus, man.
So.
What are you talking about?
Next gen respawn system.
All right.
No, that really is next gen.
Oh yeah, that's pretty tight.
All
I'm
right.
just saying.
I don't.
Next gen fish
For sure.
AI then.
Um,
He's for Channing.
that's it for the Destiny beta. I think. I don't think anyone else has any questions. Do you? You got something? Go ahead.
Oh, I got one. xXCarnal, how pissed are you gonna be if the beta is the exact same thing?
Quite honestly, if you want my true answer to that,
Yeah,
not
he'll
really,
get to play it on the
because I'll
Xbox
get to play
One,
it with you
because that's
guys.
where he's actually buying it.
Ah,
So.
Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah. I guess it would be a little disappointing, but quite honestly, I'm so hyped for this game. Getting to play even the alpha again would be exciting.
Yeah, there really was a lot to do and see. I mean, even
Yeah.
after you had created your third character to level 8, there was still things you were like, "Hell, I've never actually saw this. I never saw
Yeah.
these invisible enemies." And I'm going,
Yeah.
dude, you played it for... How big is this thing?
Well, just to describe one point, I don't want to keep too much time on this still, but me and Mortimus ran our bikes all the way across the map, just seeing how far we could get before we died. So we got to a point where we saw an enemy we hadn't seen at all. I mean, you could not see that enemy where we were, and where you're supposed to be, actually.
Right.
It was a big glowing purple thing, not the balls, but I can't remember what it's called, but it was different. It was a different enemy, so it was excited to even see that, even though there was no way in hell that we were going to be able to beat it.
You able to take a screenshot with it?
No. I said, I was so immersed into the game, it was hard to remember to have to press the stupid share button and not say Xbox record. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sony, but I'm sick of pressing that damn button and going to a separate menu to fucking record something.
Yeah. Oh, and not to mention, it fucks your stream every time. It completely destroys the screen for a second, and then you get a nice black static bar through the entire screen, and you're thinking you screwed up your stream somehow. So,
yeah, but
way to go,
anyway,
Sony. Good job.
this isn't a Sony bashing
Keep in
party,
mind,
so
Twitch, as far as I
let's
know,
move
Twitch
on.
developed these apps. I'm sure Sony had some input, but
yeah.
No, Sony
that for
developed
sure?
that one for the PlayStation 4.
Oh, okay.
They
Twitch
said that,
made
yes.
the Xbox One though,
They
right?
made it.
I don't know. I read that. Okay, my bad.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Fortunately, I don't
you
have
should go in and
archives.
enable that for next time,
Ah.
for future. It's in the
Mhm.
Yeah, where do you do that?
Twitch.com or
Website, go to
Twitch.tv,
Twitch's
sorry, and then
website.
it's somewhere in your account settings. I can't remember where it is. You'll figure it out.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, they extended it. I don't know for how long. So if anybody still has a
It's done?
PlayStation 4
Okay.
by the time they
It's
listen
done.
to this,
It's
Oh.
done.
so
Yeah,
it
they
didn't
just
even
said-
last 24 hours.
No, they just extended it for a couple hours today. They were supposed to end it like
Ouch.
when it got to
Yeah,
Sunday, but it's done. So
Okay, well,
They
if you
released the
missed it, I'm sorry.
companion
Well,
app. I
wait
think
for
was the
beta.
last thing they did.
yeah.
I think they let some people try the companion app for the Android.
Yeah,
I think
they
it
were
was.
talking about.
To see. I think I read that somewhere, and then
Oh,
it must have been
okay.
short-lived, and that was the end of it. So
Shoot, I missed that. I know they were supposed to do hell server testing, which means basically what we got for the Titanfall beta.
not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure
and
how they managed to
I
do that,
thought it would at
considering
least last
they pretty much
okay.
already let everyone who wanted in. So
I think they just reduced the amount of
That could be
servers
it.
just to see how
the
bad it
Titanfall
could get.
beta, there was tons of people who didn't get in that wanted to, and then when they opened it up, it was. Yep. What was that average?
Floodgates.
Yeah, what they did was they actually turned off the European servers and made them play on American servers. Like, let's say, to mimic if all of the servers went out in the EU, and if the people in the EU could still play the game and actually be competitive at the game using the US servers. That was one of the tests that they did.
And the fact that
Wow. All right.
So that was
Yep.
one of,
Yep.
and it worked. It worked well.
I was gonna say it worked well for Titanfall when we played over there.
it's all in how you manage
Yeah.
the latency.
So,
What's that,
That's
Landshark?
it.
Oh, I thought you said something.
Nope, nothing.
All right, well, that's it for the Destiny. A game that's big enough that I feel like we should come back and talk about just a little bit, if anyone has anything to add, is the game that we're all still sort of picking at. Some of us have beaten the story. I think 3 of us have. I don't think Landshark has. If Landshark beat me to beating the story, I feel like I've failed. Okay, because I know I have more time than
No, I
you do
haven't
to
yet.
game. So, yeah, I haven't beaten it yet. We're talking about WatchDogs,
Yeah.
of course. Now that a few of you have beaten it without spoiling it for anyone, including myself, do you still have the same thoughts you did after, I think we first talked about it, it was like 6 or 7 days after we got it, right? Something like that. Has anything changed?
Yeah.
Do you like it even more? Maybe a little less now that you've played all there is to play, so to speak, in there. I mean, Carnal's done everything I think you can basically do in there. Anyone?
Yeah.
Did you 100% it?
Well, pretty much.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm not doing the social drinking crap again. I don't care
Well,
about
no.
that.
You already got the achievement. Forget
Yeah,
that.
I already got the achievement. I 100%
So-
all the achievements, yes.
There you go. Whore.
I was waiting for that.
Well, maybe you know.
But to get to Chano's question, yeah, I really liked the ending. I thought it was pretty good, and my feelings about it was a good game. It was fun, and like I said, I did everything in the game, so it couldn't have bored me that much. Really fun game, and I
Not to
can't wait
derail
for the
this
sequel.
too much, but
so.
Carnal, did you play Black Flag? Did you 100% that thing?
Yes,
Okay, I was just curious.
I can't remember. I think I 100%ed the
Okay.
single player, but I didn't touch the multiplayer. So.
All right, anyone else on WatchDogs? Av3rage or MW? You guys both beat it, I think.
Average, you go first.
I liked it. I loved it, to be perfectly honest. I absolutely loved it. And not to spoil the ending or anything that happens in the ending, but just based off of the fact that the game sold 4 million copies in the first week and broke most of Ubisoft's sales records for their
Every
titles.
single one of their sales records.
We will see a sequel, and if you have not played the game, you need to play the game, and you need to watch the ending to understand why that sequel will take Watch Dogs in just so many different directions. Like they have a winning franchise on their hands with Watch Dogs,
Sure.
and they don't have to do much to it to make it successful. To be perfectly honest, as long as they can find somebody to write another good story like this one, and make the world as dynamic and with all of the same type of interactions, of course, you'll get more interaction. They always find ways to add more, but the groundwork has been laid for an excellent series. And yeah, nothing has changed. If anything, I like it more, and I'm probably going to start
All right.
playing through it again soon, just because I like the story that much.
Yeah, he kind of went through the quests, the main story a little too fast, so he's
He
got
did the opposite of what I did.
some other
then.
things to do. Yep,
Yep.
yep. Me, I did a nice mix. I picked every day. I picked something different to do. Couldn't get bored that way. I mean, there was enough to do that you can go through it in an entire month for, well, almost a month here, and just pick different activities to do. I do really like it. It was definitely worth
You're
going
welcome.
out for at midnight at random to pick. Thank you. Give us more. I'll buy that too. I'll take a look at that definitely. Um, I kind of have worries for the DLC. Like the first DLC that came at launch with it was one of the digital trips, and I'm like, what else are you gonna do? Is there gonna be anything actually substantial there? Is there a reason I should hold on to this game, or should I trade it in anticipation for the grand fall that we are going to have?
Yeah.
So
There is in the DLC a story driven. You get to
Okay.
play T-Bone. You play as T-Bone
oh, okay,
for those missions. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely some more coming.
okay,
Landshark,
okay.
have you played much since your initial thoughts?
Like WatchDogs? Yes.
Nice.
Actually, I played like 3 hours last night, which is a whole lot for me actually. I'm trying to burn through the storyline though, so it doesn't take me like 2 years to beat it. I'm just finding tons of stuff to do with it. I don't know. Whenever I log in, it's like, if I don't feel like doing storyline, I can do like 10 other things. just having fun with it.
My
I will beat this game. It'll be one of my few games. I beat.
that's my goal as well. I pretty much did all the side stuff, not so much like the chess games and the drinking games and those kind of things, but I did all of the fixer contracts, and I think I have one more caravan. Yeah, I got all of that stuff done basically.
That one is a
The
pain
last
in the
caravan.
butt. Be prepared to
Yeah, well, I
restart
had
it
enough
over
issues
and
with some of the other ones, and
Oh,
eventually
yeah.
just
Oh,
stopped
yeah.
caring and blew the shit out of everything. So, I can fix my reputation if I kill 8 million civilians in the area with proximity mines and everything else. That's fine. Yeah, I'm working through the story now, and yeah, it's enjoyable. To me, it's just about the right amount of content. I thought Black Flag had too much shit to do. For me, anyway. I found myself I got sidetracked. I'm comparing it because it's the same company, same type of stuff to do in a way. But yeah, it's super enjoyable. My opinion hasn't really changed. It's still a very fun game that I'd recommend to anyone who I thought would enjoy the genre. So, but that's it for WatchDogs. So nothing changed. I was kind of hoping that someone would have a negative, like after playing it, just for the sake of argument. But I guess it's a good thing for the game that none of us change our minds. So
That's terrible. How dare you entertain
Alright,
me
what's
for
the
all
negative?
this
I have a
month? What's
negative.
wrong with you?
I have a nitpick negative. It's not really negative, just it's a weird feeling when I'm playing the game. I feel like I
You
should
mean you
be
feel
able
like
to
you
enter
should be able to enter
buildings
any building that's
to
not a
do
shop?
stuff, but
Yeah.
not any or just more often. You know, I don't know. I don't know why. I just feel like
Yeah.
a game like that, I feel like you should be able to do that.
Let's go see more women changing. I don't know.
All right. We'll let you wallow in your silence of perviness. So
Yes, sir.
next
I
thing,
was just nitpicking.
there's only a couple things left. The July update preview is it live for you guys yet? I swear to God, mine hasn't downloaded, but it's supposed to be coming the next couple days if you don't have it yet. Anyone?
I can
Give me
show
a-
you.
So I thought
That's what I
1406 was
was just about
the
to
last
say. Give
month's
me
one.
just a
Is that
second.
correct? So mine was still at 1406 as
That is
of
correct.
prior to
Yeah.
recording this, but you know. So
No update
supposed
is
to be coming.
available.
They detailed some of the things.
Not yet.
Popular request. By the way, none of these are game changers. By the way, this month it's not. We don't have the hard drive or anything like that this month. But there are lots of cool things that will benefit people to varying degrees. People like Carnal who are achievement whores, achievement maidens. They will appreciate the fact that you can you can now snap achievements. And I believe you can actually go to an achievement now, and it'll automatically. You can actually like pull up information regarding it. Like it'll actually search the web for that achievement. You can do something like that.
Yeah, you can have
Yep.
it search. You can pin it so you can track
Yep,
it
so they added-
better. I mean,
You can go to Microsoft.com and actually look at every achievement that you've ever had on any game that you've played. Also, they updated it
Nice.
so that you can do
ooh,
that. So I took a look, and I'm looking at achievements for Phantasy Star Universe and Enchanted Arms and Condemned. So I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
it kind of set me back a little bit, but they did update that.
So yeah, it's hopefully it'll be going live to those of us and those of you in the program soon. I thought we were gonna have it by now, but we'll see. The other couple features, I know people like Mr. Z might appreciate this 'cause I think I've heard him complain about this, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's not him. People in other countries have complained about not being able to set the region different than the language. Certain places, and
Right.
they're giving some more freedom regarding that. It's not an issue for me, so I can't really speak to it. But it's in there for a reason. People were wanting it. They don't just put things in there that people didn't ask for at this point. So if you're one of those people, hopefully it'll work. It looks like, was it New Zealand, Ireland, Austria? So maybe it's not Germany itself. But anyway, you have some more options as far as picking your language, depending on your region. Sound like that was kind of an annoyance for some people. Um, there's a double tap to snap thing, I guess, which rhymes, which is awesome.
Yep.
Basically, if you're not snapping anything already, if you double tap the guide button, it pops up, I guess, a list, or it will. I haven't been able to test it, of course. It pops up like a list of snappable apps. Is that right? What I'm reading? Yeah, we can always talk about more about it next week. But these, I have a feeling it's going to come out for well before our next podcast. So there's another thing they brought out that I'm not entirely sure what they're getting at, but they said something regarding digital bundles and compilations. Something to do with publishers having options regarding digital bundles and disc compilations. They are testing it, and we don't know.
Basically, let's say EA wants to do a bundle where they give out, a Battlefield and Titanfall and all their shooters that they have. They can then give those out digitally or physically for a better price, whatever they kind of want to set up, instead of just Microsoft kind of publishing it or pricing it
I have a
out.
feeling we're not going to see too much of that in this preview, but hopefully sounds like they're laying the groundwork at least for, if nothing else, they're giving. Yeah, I mean we've been
something like
begging
humble
them
bundles.
to give us a reason to go all digital, and for me they haven't yet. But stuff like this goes a long way. Better pricing, better options, stuff like that. So, especially now that we have a hard drive capability. So, you can also like game DVR clips. Yeah, I guess. Hopefully there's a way to
Cool.
sort. Maybe you can filter by just your friends' things and see the highest liked videos of all your friends. Try and, it's cool to see the popular ones overall, but it's also probably more fun to see your friends' videos. So if there's a way to sort through some of the BS that our friends post, whether it's intentionally or if it's just a random clip that gets uploaded, like Battlefield levels up, which is stupid. Speaking of that, hey Microsoft, give us a way to turn that off for the games that do that. That'd be fantastic. Looking at you, Rice, and Battlefield. Yeah, it's not much to really talk about since none of us have been able to use it. Did I miss anything that they brought out? No, I think that's all the features. The last 2 months, by the way, they've sort of, after the initial wave comes out, a week or two later they drop another big feature on us. So maybe they'll do something like that again. I wouldn't hold your breath for it, but it's possible. Yeah, don't hold your breath too long.
That's all I
The
got.
guy who held his breath under the bridge and then caused an accident. He passed out. I don't know if you guys saw that on the news, but it was hilarious. Playing the bridge game where you hold your breath going under a bridge in a car. He was driving and he passed out, caused an accident.
Oh, wow.
It's stupidity at its
That's a
best.
kid's game, man.
I feel like if you're starting to get a little woozy, you might want to just breathe. I don't think anyone was critically
Hey,
hurt or
man,
anything like
he's
that, so it
super
makes
serious.
it laughable, but it's still stupid.
Oh, that's good.
Sorry, derailing that conversation. Let's see here. One last topic. This one I think is going to turn into a little bit of a Sony bash. Hopefully not too bad, but H1Z1, which was, I don't know who touted it, maybe it was Sony specifically, but the media for sure. H1Z1, as far as I thought, based on everything I had read, was basically a PS4 exclusive game that I think I had read was also coming on PC. And I think Landshark found this information. He wants to talk about it specifically. He probably has better information than I do on it.
Oh, I just ran across an article, and then once I saw the one article, I poked around and found a ton more. And yeah, H1Z1, which is a zombie game.
Sony is
Sony's
not
making.
making it. It's another developer, right? Or is it a Sony-owned company? Okay.
I thought Published. I think it's published by
They're the
Sony.
publishers, okay.
Sony Online Entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah. The news of it basically is that while we all thought it was PS4 exclusive, it's actually not
Yeah.
even in development for the PS4.
Yeah,
What the
they
sons
did
of
say yet
bitches?
specifically
Yeah.
in the quote. I think I
Like,
read.
straight up.
So
Well, yeah.
well, that
that's
was a
just way for them
developer I
to
think
buy
specifically
time,
who
right?
said that with the yet quote in there. I could be wrong. I have to go back and look, but
Yet.
It's coming to Steam for the PC
that is
first.
for sure.
I
Yep.
believe.
Developer
Or
has
for
said
sure.
that no one in that studio is working on the
Sorry,
PS4 version yet. So it's not. Yeah.
Yets just don't work. So, I mean, MW, if your wife told you to do something, I don't think it'd work. Say, I'm not taking the trash out yet. So,
Or ever.
ever.
Well,
I look like the trash
are
man.
you asking
Yeah,
us an
yeah.
honest question?
Got
Or?
games to play.
Well, you were shirtless a few minutes ago
Yeah.
when you accidentally.
I missed
did
that
this,
apparently.
guys,
So I'm still
Sorry.
traumatized when he tried to twerk in
yeah.
front of the Kinect a couple earlier this week or last week. So that was scarred for life. Yeah. So back to
And they say
H1Z1. It's just to me this is another example of Sony marketing at its best. Is it a lie? Technically not, because it sounds like they do have plans to bring it to the PS4. Otherwise, I don't think Sony would be publishing it. That's plans in place, but it sounds like they have no intention of developing it prior to the, or even at the same time as a PC version, from what I've read. Just another way to, generate hype for your console by, I would say, stretching the truth, but not necessarily lying. That's, yeah.
Sony doesn't do
Um,
that. Come on.
No.
I mean, speaking of which, look at their. I didn't bring this up before, and you told me to.
Oh, yeah.
Their exclusive content to Destiny. On the Sony, apparently on the console, it says in one area it's exclusive, and on the other area it says it's timed exclusive. So,
Oh, and
what's
timed
the deal, Sony?
exclusive is so small print. You need a
Is that on the
magnifying
game
glass
case
on
or
the
on the
internet
console?
for it.
Yeah,
console
it's-
thing?
That's just stupid.
It's on the console,
okay.
or it's on like
Gotcha.
the
It's on
store. I
their,
think.
their website. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't think any
So
of us
stupid.
appreciate Sony's marketing. I think we can all agree on that. Some of us, I think, hate it worse than others. I think
Honesty,
Landshark gets the most
damn it.
irritated.
I
Average might be a close second.
I don't appreciate it
Nice.
yet.
So, just another example. And then on this, has this been confirmed, by the way, MW, for sure? This Battlefield Hardline 1080p thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. Eurogamer had an article where they completely tore it down. Yeah. 900p, 30 frames per second average. When they literally got up on the EA stage, the big fat guy, I
Is that
can't remember his name.
Is that the new
He
guy?
works for Sony.
The
He's
new
been there a while.
guy who replaced Jack Tretton, or is it a
Yeah.
different?
No, it was the guy who was up there was talking about Grim Fandango, about the fan letter that he got
Wasn't that-
from.
I don't know. I get my.
Yeah.
Which was a fake fan letter, by the way.
Yeah, the fake
weird-
fan letter. Yeah. Oh God. How cheesy you gonna introduce a game? But he was up there and he literally said, "Enjoy Battlefield Hardline and all its 1080p, 60 frames
Specifically
per second
in reference to
glory."
the beta, to be clear.
No and no.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. It was completely outlined because they said enjoy it on Thursday, the beta, on the PlayStation 4,
Fun stuff.
and they lied. Whether that's their fault or not, don't go up there and tout a number big and loud
Yeah.
when you don't know. It's not your fault because you're just a PR guy.
Well, it's all
But
written
don't
out.
say shit
I mean,
when
they're
you
all
don't
reading
know.
off of cards, but still, someone writes those cards, and those people generally have information. So
Sure.
someone was clearly misinformed, or that was a conscious decision, which I would like to believe it wasn't. I mean, their whole
yeah,
it's better on
conscious decision.
PS4. But I think they honestly might have said that 6 or 7 times in the first 15
Their
minutes.
their little white lies. Their little white lies are there for the gamers that don't know or care, But it sounds good to them, so
So,
no
It's
one's
the
going
little
to call
things that
them
add
out.
up.
They know no one's going to call them out. It really
They
got
just get blown
downplayed.
over in the media. If you call them
Oh
out,
yeah.
it's not going to reach the media. So
Oh, and we'll eventually get a
Yep.
beta for
yep, that
you know,
was and yep,
the
they
Xbox
confirmed.
One.
Actually,
They already
every
confirmed
platform
that.
is going to get a beta. So it sounds like PC and PS4 got one, and then the 360,
Well,
PS3, and the Xbox One are all going to have a beta prior to launch. So everyone's going to get one who's interested in it,
right.
unless you own just a Wii U, in which case you should probably buy another system in addition to that. So, yeah, these are just thrown in there. I mean, this is probably a topic we could talk about for an entire huge segment regarding Sony's PR in general. They're brilliant in an awful way. I think that sums it up for me. So
it's just like a political campaign you'd see on TV for the presidency or something, right? It's just a bunch of little white lies and smear campaign of the other side.
yeah, I don't like smear campaigns. I like clean
That's-
races.
Yep.
Whether or not they're beautiful, it doesn't matter. At least you can
Yep.
have integrity at the end of
yeah,
that one.
it's
I don't know.
it is what it is. So I know people like to say the reason Microsoft is being so pleasant
Sure.
is because they're not on top this gen. Well, that could be partially true, but how does that explain Sony? Because most of last
Yeah,
gen they were not on
That's
top. Even though in the end, in fact, PS4 might even have outsold globally the Xbox 360. I don't know, but it was close.
they haven't touted their numbers. I know Microsoft's up to
But
84
yeah, I don't.
million
I
Xbox 360s.
I
So
strongly remember Sony being pretty freaking smug when the PS3 was struggling fairly early on
Every
in sales, and yeah, so
better go get that
Yeah.
second job.
yeah, just like if you don't have a internet connection, whatever, deal with it, hashtag or whatever the hell that was by the other guy. They've all made their fair
Hashtag
share
deal
of
with it.
mistakes, but it seems to be fairly more intentional with Sony as far as the line goes. So.
Here's the difference. Microsoft fires those guys. Sony promotes theirs. They're literally
Oh,
running.
here's
the
a
company
quick
into the ground.
impromptu topic. Where do you guys think? Do you think Jack Tretton's going to stay where he's at with startup company or whatever the hell he's doing? Or do you think he's got plans once his no compete, clause that I'm sure is in his contract with Sony when he signed that he can't work for a direct competitor for X
contract,
amount of
yeah.
time? Do you think he's going to ever come back and work for someone like EA or Ubi or even Microsoft?
Nintendo.
Would Nintendo even hire him?
Probably not.
No, they wouldn't. I would assume it depends on how well that startup company goes. If it's doing well and they keep paying him, because people have jobs for money, so as long as you pay the guy, I don't think he cares. But if it goes downhill real quick, he's gonna disappear, and he'll end up somewhere else, either in the video game industry or some other large firm that will pay him quite well.
All right. That was just something. I was just curious to see what you guys thought. So
Cool.
I think he'll end up somewhere.
Are we gonna do any talk about, not even this one, but next week, about Battlefield 4 Hardline,
Any talk about it?
the beta?
Yeah,
played it.
we can bring it up
Well, I
next
played
time.
it a bit, so I'm just curious.
We'll throw it in there and remind me for the podcast
Okay,
next
that's
time. And yeah, we can bring it up. You might be the only person that played it, I think. Yeah, it's still
played on
worth it. I mean, the
PC, so,
gameplay itself
yeah.
is still basically the same. So we'll get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I gotta watch a little bit more of it. I've been purposely avoiding it
Do you have
because I'm just like,
archived footage?
I have
You
some
can
on.
throw
I'll save it
some
right now. I think it's
videos or
still on
something
there.
like that. We can take a look and we can discuss it next time.
yeah, either directly link them to
Yeah,
us
for
or
us,
throw it up on the
anyone else
YouTube
who wants
page.
to
You
see
got
it.
the
Assuming you're
links.
not breaking NDA. I don't know what the NDAs are.
Yeah.
Look,
I,
let's
no,
just leave it.
it's all over YouTube. I can't imagine there's any NDAs on it.
Let's just leave it at this. Before we're not gonna talk about it, but Landshark, thumbs up or thumbs down from what you played?
Ooh.
Below average.
Below average.
It literally could have been just a mod or
Got it.
something for the BF4.
I
That's
still
what
got to give
everyone
it the benefit of
says.
the doubt just
Yep.
because it's a whole new developer. I trust Visceral, so I got to
Me
give it
too,
a
I
shot
wanna
at
play
least.
it.
So, but not that I don't respect your opinion, Landshark. Don't get me wrong.
We'll all get a chance
I
to play
want
it,
this game
so
to be
there
good
you go.
just because it's Visceral. I don't want to see Visceral fail. So,
Oh, I don't think it's even going to be a failure. I mean, if you look at it, Battlefield 4 is still fun, broken but fun. So even below average for this it's still fun.
Oh.
You know, it's just below maybe what we're used to in terms of the differentiation between Battlefield. Pause your stream.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I just sent you guys a link to the stream that I recorded for 30 minutes, but that was the very first time I played
right.
it, so I was messing with my key bindings a bit too. But
yeah,
next time
I'm
I
sure
play
we'll
it, I'll
talk way
record
more
and send
about
you
it
guys a
too when
link.
the actual full beta comes out for all the other systems as well. So, but yeah, we'll get your detailed thoughts on why you think it's below average, and yeah. I don't have any other topics for this week.
We'll save
I
the next-
think we'll keep it at however long we're at now, which isn't too bad, I don't think. Yeah. So we do have
About
one
an hour and a
last
half.
bit, and this is for people who actually stuck around and listened to the entire thing. MW has a code for what is it? What is it?
It is for Connect Sports Rivals. It is a perfect dark skin pack. So the little wetsuits and things you can get and earn or whatever. I was sent this code through an email when I got Connect Sports. I don't really want it, so I want to see if somebody else wants it. And we'll see if anyone's
Someone
actually
will.
listening.
Hopefully, it's someone who
perhaps.
actually wants Connect Sport Rivals, or if you have a friend who wants it, if you win and have it, we'll give you the code. Give it to whoever you
Right?
want.
Yeah, I'm.
I want it.
So thank you to MW
Shut
for
up, don't buy it.
volunteering that. Basically, what I'm going to do is, the first 3 people, if there are 3 people, it's a stretch, who actually listen to this, and what do you guys want the code word to be? If they reply to our topic in there with this code word, we'll add them in there, and we'll do a random drawing out of the first 3 people.
Battlefield
Battlefield sucks. Battlefield doesn't suck.
I love Battlefield
Um,
too. No, I'm just kidding.
Carnal is
Yeah,
dumb. No, Maiden. Make it Maiden.
Maiden. That's
Maiden.
M-A-I-D-E-N.
Maiden. Do make it
And
Maiden.
Shark, hopefully you listened to it and saw the Maiden part
Yes.
of last week's podcast.
And if you spell it wrong,
Yep.
you
So
are
just reply with
disqualified.
Maiden.
Remember
First
that.
3 people up through. We'll give them till what do you guys want to say? What is today? Monday. Yep. So
We'll give
till
'em a
next
week.
podcast, if
Give 'em till
And
next
or
announce
until we
the
get
winner
3
next
people,
week.
Sunday.
and then we'll do a quick. Well, then if you're the
So we
only
never
person
hit
that
3
replies with Maiden, then one, we need to do a better job of promoting our podcast, and or making it more interesting so they listen to the whole thing. Or
Apparently, I need to get out on the
God.
Carnal out
Or,
on the street
yeah.
corner. Hold on,
We'll see what happens.
M-A-I-D-E-N.
Hopefully
Spell my name wrong, you don't get anything.
so we'll see how it goes. We'll just do that. It's what it is.
Also, in the future, if you keep listening, I will try to get as many codes that I personally don't want. I almost threw up a $10 code that Microsoft sent me, but I was like, I kind of want some DLC. So, sorry you lost that on that one.
Oh, and also, guys, keep in mind, we might be doing some more giveaways, but we might throw the code in the middle of the podcast, so you can't just skip right to the end. Just saying.
That's true.
And we won't take the kind of time we're taking today. So,
Yeah.
gotta listen to
And,
it all. It'll be sneaky.
I also want to throw this out there as a general thing, and you can give us your thoughts in the topic for the podcast. I'd like to also set something up for some of the community people who actually do contribute on a semi-regular basis. I can think of a few people offhand. I'm not going to call them out here, but people who do contribute and actually want to, we can't fit everyone into the podcast. We'll try and get some people in as spots free up and people are on vacation or can't make it. But if you have a specific topic that you feel strongly about and you either really disagree or really agree and want to get your voice heard, this is something I threw around about a month ago with these guys. I'm more than willing to set up some side pieces where you can give 5 or 10 minutes to introduce yourself. You can argue with me, or if you really want to talk to, Landshark or Carnal or MW or Av3rage, I'm sure they'll be more than accommodating. Yeah.
I will literally let you call me a maiden.
If you have something you want to talk about,
I am not making a video for the maiden. Everything else, I will make a video for you. And Carnal will personally make you a playing card.
So as long as these guys are accommodating, if there's one specific person you want to talk to about something, and it will be featured either probably at the end of the podcast when we're done. It'll be tacked on at the end, so other people can listen to it. If you're interested in something like that, just post it in the forum itself, or private message me or Landshark, and we'll try and get it set up with whoever it is that you care to talk to. So. You can yell at me if you want for having strong opinions or making fun of Carnal too much, whatever it is.
Too much? Is there such a thing?
No, there's not. Bring it on.
So I'd like to get more people involved in however ways, whatever way we can. Maybe we'll start putting some topics out there ahead of time for other people to know kind of what we're going to talk about. Other than obviously E3 was obvious, but if there's something that we think people have opinions on, maybe we'll ask you to write it up. And if it's short enough and, well written enough for worth sharing, we'll read it in the podcast as sort of another opinion, and then we'll all rip you on the podcast together. So
you can't defend
lots of things we can do with the podcast. It's a work in progress.
Words.
So if you have some ideas, feel free to share them with us. We're open to adding things. If there's something we do that you really dislike, we'll consider taking it off or changing it.
Yeah, like Carl.
Like Chano.
That would be a little rough.
Damn it!
My podcast and all, that would be kind of sad. But and
Landshark reports
really
good, right?
Yeah, I got it.
You guys just won't invite me one day, not tell me what's going on. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this podcast up. One last thing. Fairly important to the forum. So Cabin is going to be a little more busy with life, and we needed a new. Yeah. God forbid he has a real life and is going back to school and trying to make himself better. Shame on him. Yes.
Exactly.
So he'll still be on the podcast when possible. He'll still contribute to the forum, but he's going to be in a little bit of a diminished capacity as far as how often he's able to do it. So because of that, we are now going to make MW a full mod. So you'll see that as in effect basically as soon as I log off here. So congrats, MW. By the way, he didn't know I was going to tell him that. Yeah, that's brand new news to MW. He did not know I was going to tell him that. So it's quite the honor,
Congrats, MW.
Yay!
You can make up for my lackluster modding.
It is what it is. So, but that's
no comment. Not allowed to
so
talk
that's
bad
it for the
about my
podcast.
phone.
Sorry for the last 10 minutes of us just bantering, but join us in a party sometime, and it's this, but crude, and it's basically like game discussions with dick and fart jokes mixed in, like that's exactly what it is. Sort of like our podcast last week when Landshark and Av3rage went to keep it under control.
This is still more highbrow humor than anything you'll find on IGN comment section. I'm just telling you this right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, shots fired.
Not really. All comment sections. I mean everything, everywhere. The internet is just.
All right. Anything else from any of you guys before we call it? All right. Well, in that case, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.